What's up, everybody? It's Rashad Buie back again. Consider hitting that like and subscribe button as I upload videos on a weekly basis covering the hottest topics in sports, especially if it is OU related. This is Ballin' with Buie. Today, I want to talk about the 2020-2021 national champs, the Baylor Bears. They pull off a huge win, knocking off Gonzaga when they come into the game at 31-0, trying to complete that undefeated season with a national championship, and Baylor put a strong halt to that. So let's talk about the game. Baylor absolutely dominated from the jump. They were able to build a 19-point lead in the first half. Now Gonzaga was able to cut into that multiple times and cut into it to end the first half, and Baylor was only up by 10 going into the half. They were up 47-37. But Gonzaga just had no answer for Baylor on either side of the floor all night. Baylor was able to force numerous turnovers, especially in the first half. I can't remember the exact number, but they forced several in the first half. And then Suggs picked up two very quick fouls, I believe, in the first 5 minutes, and they had to sit him for the majority of the first half. Baylor was already dominating the game, so they didn't start dominating when he went out. It was already happening. But that's huge. You're the star player. I think, in my opinion, I think Suggs is the guy for Gonzaga, and you pick up two fouls in the first 5 minutes of the biggest game of the year. That's a huge mental error. That's a huge mental mistake. You should not pick up two fouls in the first 5 minutes in any game, but especially this game. He did rebound in the second half, was able to contribute to the scoring into the floor, but that didn't make a difference. Nothing really could slow down Baylor, and they won the second half also 39-33 to get the dub 86-70. I projected a 80-78 win for the Baylor Bears, which obviously Baylor was able to pull off the win, but a much higher scoring margin of 16 to be exact. But the big story for Baylor was their three-point shooting and being able to force turnovers, because they knocked down 10 threes. Gonzaga only able to hit 5 of 17 shooting. On the turnovers, they were able to force 14 turnovers. And with 14 turnovers, you're going to get some points, which Gonzaga was also able to force some turnovers and get some points off turnovers, but the turnovers that happened for Gonzaga just seem so much more crucial than when Baylor turned the ball over. And a lot of that had to do with them trailing for the majority of the game, but still. Largest lead of the game for Baylor ended up being 20 points. Butler finished with, I believe, 22, and Suggs was also able to pull out 22 there in the second half. He was popping off a little bit. And another big story was Mark Vital for Baylor had 11 rebounds, and 8 of those 11 rebounds were on the offensive floor. Gonzaga just could not keep Mark Vital off the glass, and he had a lot of scoring in the paint. They could not slow him down on the offensive end of the floor. He was doing pretty much whatever he wanted. And then Butler was also able to contribute 7 assists in the game. He was the leading assists. He led in assists for the Baylor Bears in the game. Scoring-wise, still for the Baylor Bears, Teague was able to pop off for 19. Mitchell had 15. And that was about the majority of their points, besides a couple points here and there, obviously. And then Gonzaga, Timmy only had 12. I expected Timmy to pop off. I expected a very good matchup between him and Vital, and Vital obviously won that battle because Timmy only had 12 points. Also, Kispert for Gonzaga had 12. Like I said, Suggs led the way with 22. And then all other points here and there, whatever. But Baylor, national champs, representing the Big 12, first team to win the national championship in Texas, which is insane to me considering how many teams are in Texas and they never won the national championship. It's the first one that Baylor has won, obviously, since it's the first one that's been won in the state of Texas. But Baylor brings it to Waco for the first time ever and back to the Big 12. There's been a Big 12 champ in a hot minute, and Baylor's able to represent for us. I I was pulling for Baylor the entire tournament, and they came out on top. Shout out to Scott Drew. He's been a coach that stuck around for a while and been able to develop that program himself pretty much, and he finally was able to lead them to national championship. So March Madness is in the books for this season. I think it was a hell of a tournament. This is the best tournament that I remember maybe ever. This might be the best tournament that I've witnessed in my lifetime. Of course, March Madness is always good, but this one just seemed to be over the top. And maybe it was because we were lacking one last year. Maybe that kind of made the build-up better. But this tournament, I thought, kicked ass, no doubt. But that concludes the season. Now we just got to sit around and wait for college football pretty much. I mean, softball is always a hot thing, especially once the World Series starts. That's always a most watched thing on TV during the time. Well, actually, the Olympics are the summer. What the hell am I talking about? The Olympics are the summer, so we have plenty of content to fill the podcast, fill our TVs for the next couple months. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Baylor's national champs, and I'll see y'all around. Deuces.